In this video, we will discuss what is a static keyword in Java. Static keyword is used for memory management in Java. You can use static keyword to refer blocks, variables, methods, and classes. The static variables and the static methods of a class can be accessed without creating an object. That means by using class name we can able to access the static variables and static methods. Now let us see one by one in detail. Static block. Static block is a block of statements inside the Java class that will be executed before the main method at the time of class loading. In this example, we are having static members and static block, and in the main method we are having we are printing a main method, and we are accessing the static members by using key class name dot field name. So when you run this program, first it will be check for the static members. If it is their static members, it will be executed. After that, if we are having any instance blocks, that will be executed. Then the main method will be executed. So when you run this program, first static block is executing. After that, main method statement, this statement executing, and the next statements are executing accordingly. This static block you can use to put the some statements that needs to be run or that needs to be executed before main method loading. That kind of code and all you can able to keep inside the static block. Static block is used to initialize the static members. In this example, we are having field I of type static. This static variable you can able to initialize the value inside the static block or inside the any of the methods we can able to initialize. If a field is represented as both static and final, that time you should initialize a value at the time of declaration only. If you are not initialized at the time of declaration, then you should use any one of the static blocks to initialize the value for that static and final field. Outside the static block, it cannot accept static methods or instance method. Even constructors also cannot assign the values for static and final variables. So static block is used to assign the value for static and final variables. Now let us see what is static variables. A variables can be represented using static keyword. Then we can say that variables as static variables. This static variables gets the memory only once in the class area at the time of class loading. These static variables can be created at class level only. That means these static variables you cannot create inside the static blocks or methods or static methods. You cannot create anywhere. That means that static variables should be created at the class level only. As we discussed, before loading main method, it will check for static members. It will check for the static members. If the static members are there, that time that static members will be executed. The static members means the variables and the static blocks. How they will be executed means the static block and static variables are executed in the order they are present in the program. In this program, first we are having variable, then we are having static block. When you run this program, first it will be running this static variable because it is present in the first. So here we are calling to declare to initialize the value for this I, we are calling method 1. So this method 1 will be executed and here we are printing the statement method 1. Then this method 1 will return the value 20, so I value will be initialized to 20. Then this static block will be executed. After that main method will be executed and the statements of main method will be executed. The same example in the right side, just we changed the static block to first statement, and we are moved the static variable into the second statement. If you run this program, if you see, first this static block is executed, then the static members like static variables are executed. That means static block and static variables are executed in the order they are present in the program. Now let us talk about static methods. If we represent a method as a static keyword, then we can say that kind of methods as static methods. The most common example of static method is main method. A static method can be invoked without creating an instance of a class. That means to access the static methods, we no need to create the objects for that class. So in this example, how we are calling static keyword dot I. That means we are accessing the static variables by using the class name. And the same way we are calling the static methods by using the class name dot method name. For example, if we have any other instance method, the time to call that methods, what we have to do here, we have to static keyword s is equals to new static keyword, then s dot method 1, like that we have to call. So to access the static methods, no need to create the objects for that class. The most important one of the interview question is why main method is static. So to answer that question, we can say if we declare a main method as non-static, that time we have to create an object for that class. By using that object, we can able to call the main method. And second thing, we are not sure about what type of constructors are there, and default constructor will be there or not. What type of parameterized constructors will be there, we are not sure about that. This is also one of the reason why main method is static in Java. This and super keywords cannot be used inside the static members like static blocks or static methods. If you use this or super keyword inside the static context, you will get the this or super cannot be referred from the static context. These static members cannot access the non-static members. In this example, we are having non-static field int j, and we are trying to assign the value inside the static method, and we are getting what we are getting, j cannot be referred from a static context, and also we are calling the non-static method from the static method. So we are getting error saying that non-static method m2 cannot be referred from static context. Next, static classes. If we represent any class as static, that class we can say as a static class. A class can be made static only if it is a nested class. That means you cannot use the outer class as static. You should always use static keyword for nested classes. Nested static classes does not need a reference of outer class. In this example, if you see, we are having static keyword. Static keyword is the outer class, and we are having nested class as nested static class. To access this non-static nested class methods, we have to create an object. But in this case, we no need to create object for outer class. So how we are representing static keyword dot non-static class s is equals to new static keyword dot nested static class, and you are accessing that method by using this variable. If you are having this void m1 also static, that time how we can able to call that method here directly, static keyword dot nested static class dot method 1, like that you can able to call. This is all about static blocks, static methods, static variables and static classes in Java. Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.